So, welcome back. So, in this section, I want to talk to you about the fundamentals of emotional intelligence. Now, a lot of people talk about, the four legs or the pillars or whatever the case may be, but I like to talk about the fundamentals. What makes up emotional intelligence? Now, the first fundamental is awareness. So, this is very much about self-awareness, but also the awareness of other people and their behavior and their emotions. Second fundamental is self-regulation. The third one is motivation, and specifically self-motivation or intrinsic motivation. The fourth one is empathy. The fifth one is social skills, where I spoke about earlier about the interpersonal and intrapersonal. And then the sixth one is environment. Now, I'm going to get into detail with all six these fundamentals. Now, according to Goleman's book, he only talks about 5 fundamentals, but I have added on a 6th one. And when I get into detail about that, you will understand why I thought it was quite important to include a 6th fundamental in becoming emotionally intelligent. So the first fundamental is, as I said, awareness. Now, everybody talks about mindfulness. It's very much the similar thing. It's about being mindful, about being aware, and it's also about being conscious. Now, I'm sure you've heard about conscious parenting, you've heard about consciousness, where people have become more aware of their surrounding, they've become more aware of themselves, they've become more aware of their emotions, behavior, spiritually aware of energy, all sorts of things. So, as you can see, the 3 of them are very similar: awareness, mindfulness, and consciousness. So when it's about awareness of self, it's about your feelings, being aware of your feelings. Why do you have those feelings? What do they feel like? Your needs, your actual emotional needs, your values, your beliefs, your thoughts, the way you communicate, your tone and the volume, self-expression, body language, your facial expressions, and listening, and then awareness of others, which is very much paying attention and listening to what they have to say, and also their body language. Just so you know, we're going to get into each and every one of these in detail, but I just wanted to give you a quick overview of the fundamentals and what is included in them before we get into detail. Now, the second fundamental is self-regulation, which means understanding your emotions, expressing your emotions appropriately, and being able to self-soothe. So it's so that you don't just operate based on your emotions and you don't unconsciously react or respond to them. So it's all about being able to regulate your own emotions. The third fundamental is motivation, and it's very much about intrinsic motivation. Now, intrinsic motivation is something that is inside of you. Nobody else has got to motivate you to do something, so that is what intrinsic is. It's almost like a built-in motivation. Now, internal rewards, knowing yourself, your purpose, your intentions, setting goals, and it really is about being self-sufficient and being independent. So that is fundamental number 3. So fundamental number 4 is empathy. So if you're not sure about the difference between empathy and sympathy, sympathy is when you feel sorry for someone, and most people don't like being felt sorry for. But empathy is about being able to imagine yourself in somebody else's situation. But it also means about being kind to yourself. Sometimes we're so hard on ourselves and we think that we should have known better or we shouldn't have reacted in a certain way. But it really is about learning how to be kind to yourself and also being kind to others because you imagine them in that situation. And as I said earlier on, I fully and totally believe that if everybody had the ability, or everybody did develop their empathy, we could honestly eradicate violence, bullying, and crime. And just a side note here with people who have mental diseases, so not mental health issues, but a mental illness, like somebody who is a psychopath, they don't have the capacity to develop empathy. There's a part of their brain that is actually doesn't function, it hasn't switched on. So, but in all other cases, as far as I know and as far as I understand, people can develop their empathy, and it's not always something that you're born with. I remember having a discussion with somebody when they said that we're all born with empathy, and you can't develop it, but you can develop it, and we're going to show you how you can do that. But people with an illness, as I say, like somebody who's a psychopath, they don't have that ability at all. You can't teach them how to develop their empathy. So EQ Fundamental 4 is social skills. So that is where, as I said, interpersonal and intrapersonal skills come in. And this is also about feeling comfortable with who you are. So when you have those intrapersonal skills and you understand yourself and you accept yourself and you love yourself and you like yourself and you feel comfortable in your own skin, it's all about developing those skills. And then it's obviously about developing skills interpersonally with other people. So communication falls into that, where you're able to build relationships and friendships. Confidence comes into this as well, and having healthy self-esteem and self-worth. So this is the 6th fundamental that I mentioned that you don't find in any of the EQ books that are available at the moment, and I'm not quite sure why. But I do know, because we've been in this, because I've been in this field for 17 years and having dealt with hundreds and hundreds of people, that I've just thought that it's really important to include this, because even though your feelings and emotions are created by you and your interpretation by life and created by your brain, there are other factors that affect your emotions. And the one is that other people's emotions affect you, because emotions are incredibly infectious. They are contagious. Now, I know that sounds really bad, but they really are contagious, because your emotions are energy and we are affected by other people's energy and we kind of take it on. So that's the one thing. The other thing is that food, chemicals, hormones, all of those things have an effect on your emotions as well. Your home, your family, your caregivers, the lighting, noise, smells, TV, Wi-Fi, the people in your life, places, community at large. So there are many, many aspects that affect your emotions, and until you become emotionally intelligent and you're able to decipher and distinguish between them, they are really, or there's the possibility that they are going to create havoc in your system and in your mind and in your body, because often those emotions and these factors that create those emotions can sometimes seem out of your control. So it's very, very important to be aware of environment. Right, so now that I have given you a brief overview of all the different fundamentals, now we're going to start on the process of becoming emotionally intelligent. So I've given you the overview of the science of emotions, why it's important, what the benefits are. So the very next thing that we're going to do now is that you are going to learn how to become emotionally intelligent yourself. So without delay, let's get started.